looking very much forward to standing here tonight. Probably firstly because I think graduation is something, let's be honest, for 16 months minimum, we've all been looking forward to it, right? But I'm personally very humbled. I'm grateful and I'm also quite proud that I get to stand here and represent what is now the graduated class of November 2017. It has a pretty good ring to it. To me it seems almost unreal that it's, well, basically now it is over. And even though that Stefan has said a lot of thank yous and that our beloved Ben told us this morning that I shouldn't do this, then I'm sorry, I'm going to do it anyway, because I think a lot of thank yous are actually in order. So to begin with, to the entire IMD faculty, thank you so much for everything you taught us. Thank you for all of your support and for getting us through. And thank you for being here tonight to celebrate with us. To the EMBA office, Sophie and Mathieu especially, thank you so much for arranging everything so seamlessly for us. Without you, there could very well have been that a few of us had gotten lost and left behind, either in the concrete jungles of Beijing or, oh horror, the beaches of Brazil. So thank you so much for getting us through it and for getting us home safely. And then lastly, but definitely most importantly, we owe a lot of thank you tonight to our families and loved ones, both the ones who are here and the ones who couldn't make it. Because I think you should get a lot of credit today. You've been there for us and you supported us through this journey. And I'm pretty sure it hasn't always been equally fun. Because you've had to cover for us while we've been away. And when we've been home, well, we've been preoccupied with assignments, with group work, and sometimes with some required soul searching to get through our leadership essays. I guess it's fair to say that the last year has been a lot about us. So we owe you one. It will be up to each of us to figure out what the equivalent of that one will be. I don't know whether it will be to support you through your future career ambitions and goals, or whether it will be something more low practical, like doing the grocery shopping, the vacuum cleaning, and the dishes for the rest of our lives. I will not decide for us individually, but I will take the liberty to make a promise on all of our behalf that pay it back we will. This last year, where we've all been together on the mastery part of the EMBA, has been an unforgettable journey. It's taken us from Switzerland to China, India, Vietnam, Brazil, and to the US. And we've gotten to study and discover the history and the cultures in each of these countries. It's been a really great opportunity to get a feeling for different sets of business environments and leadership styles than what we are faced with normally. And we've gotten to take that with us home into our own context and reflect on it and use it to, well, better understand who we are and maybe even more who we want to be as leaders. That has been a great learning experience, but we also, of course, had great learnings academically. So I strongly believe that across everything from finance to strategy, organizational theory, leadership, and more, we've gotten a lot of tools that will be beneficial for us through the rest of our career. But to be honest, when I think about the last year right now, the number one thing that stands out to me is that this was a people experience. Because traveling wasn't foreign to, I think, any of us when starting this. I think most of us have maybe even been to all of the countries that we visited together before. But getting to emerge into these other business environments and cultures, together with the people who represent 34 nationalities and 37 industries, doing that together with a group like that, I don't think any of us have done before. And to me, that's really what made the difference. Because when we are out in the different corners of the world, and we spend long days visiting visiting organizations and companies and so on. When we got back to the hotel at night, that's really where the work began. That's where we had to start sharing our experiences. And very often, or actually always, that was where the learnings began. Because my Scandinavian Viking eyes, they had rarely or always seen something very different from those of a Swiss grenadier or a Brazilian oil and gas professional, a German biophysics PhD, or an Italian corporate developer. So in reality, those moments, that's where the magic happened. Because sometimes it would lead to amazing conversations. Conversations about Chinese Confucianism, about talent development in Silicon Valley, about despair over poverty in India or pollution in China, or about the deep inspiration that I think most of us felt from the entrepreneurial spirit we've been exposed to across continents. And then there were those other times. The other times where it led to heated arguments. Arguments about politics, about business strategies, sometimes about something as sexy as numbers, and my personal favorite, about how to best present our findings in a PowerPoint slide. Luckily, when I think back of it now, I remember it as that the good conversations far outnumbered the arguments. And the arguments, in reality, were never more severe than a truce could be found in the bar later. But I am very sure that our diversity has been our strength. I think coming into this, all of us logically knew, we probably all even said it out loud, that diversity is a benefit in any group or organization. But knowing something intellectually and actually believing something, well, that's not always the same thing. IMD has managed to create a neutral space for us, a room where we've all been in the exact same situation. We've all met each other on equal grounds. Across genders, cultures, religions, and beliefs, we've faced the exact same challenges. But we did it, we came into it with our backpacks filled with very different tools in terms of experiences, approaches, and views. And to see the results which we've been able to create together by combining those tools, well, that has at least enabled me to no longer just logically believe that diversity is a strength. I feel it, I've seen it, and I now believe it in here. So I hope we'll all take that with us, because God knows the world today is in dire need of leaders who firstly acknowledges diversity as a strength, but also who doesn't only talk the talk, but who actually believes it enough to drive it, and drive it in both organizations as well as in the world societies. We started this journey together as strangers. I still remember our first class together. It was here in Lausanne at IMD. It was January and it was cold, it was dark. And there was quite some anxiety in the air. Some of us knew each other from past FBL courses, some of us did not. And we were all kind of eyeing each other out a little bit. Who do I trust? Who do I want to work with? Maybe, for the most competitive of us, who's going to help me win? And okay, through my eyes at least, who do I want to have drinks with later? Over time, group work was carried out, competing exercises were won and, well, lost. Assignments were written, drinks were drunk, and the coalitions and the competition melted, and instead friendships were formed. The time spent together and the pressure that this program has put us through, it's pushed us closer together. We've built resilience individually, but in reality, we've built that together. We just spent a few days in a Swiss bunker and in a high-stress environment. And even though I just came out, one of my first reflections on that is that had that been a year ago, then the sleep deprivation, the lack of fresh air, and the high-pressure tasks, I'm pretty sure it would have made all of us tear each other's heads off. Yet it seems today that when we talk about it, that there's a clear consensus that now it didn't seem that stressful at all. Maybe that's partly because we've become a unit. A unit that no longer competes and focuses on number one, but instead a unit that respects each other, that listens to each other, that speaks up for each other, that supports each other. A unit that's not afraid to challenge each other, but a unit that cares, and a unit that inspires each other to dare. In the program, and also last week, we have on a regular basis been giving each other personal feedback. Sometimes after a very structured methodology, and sometimes less so. But regardless of the format, I think it's been quite interesting to see the profound development in the quality of that as an exercise. And maybe that's because giving feedback is a skill, and when you rehearse it, you get better, sure. And maybe it's also because when you know people a little better, it's easier to give on-point feedback. Sure. But in reality, I believe that is something else, because I believe that the fact we've gone through this together has opened our ears in a new way. We've gone from listening, because we had to, it's an exercise, to actually caring about each other's point of view, to really take it in, and maybe even better, to dare to use the feedback to strive to become better versions of ourselves. That tells me something important. That when we invest in getting to know each other, when we care for each other, we can also impact each other. We can inspire. We can make each other better. And as future people leaders, I really hope that that's one of the things we all take with us. So not only, just for the benefit of the lucky people who will get to work for us in the future, but also because of the network that we've built together. You see, we've talked a lot about what makes a good networker, right? I don't believe that a good networker has anything to do with whether you're an extrovert or not, how you manage your LinkedIn contacts, or how many events you go to. I believe that it is all about what you put into your network. I think caring about the people around us, that will be what will make the network we have created together over the last years be something that actually gives back to us for many years to come. So dear graduated class in November 2017, together we've learned a lot out there in the real world. And some of it was in the official curriculum. A lot of it was not. And I have to mention a few of the highlights, which will be permanently stored in my backpack going forward. Because together with all of you, I have at least learned that the answer is yes. The profound value of stopping up and asking what the heck is going on. That let's have one drink rarely means one drink. That there is no such thing as a flat cube, no matter how hard 8 highly intelligent people look for it. That playing the piano can be rather complicated, and that's regardless whether it has 7 or 10 chords. And that sometimes, and this is just sometimes, if you're with the right people, great work and great results can actually come from sitting around at the pool and at the bar. Thank you all for what has been one of the richest years in my life in terms of learning. Thank you for all your candor. Thank you for the friendships, which I firmly believe and hope will last for a long time. In essence, thank you all for making me better. I hope that the people in this room will become the great future leaders of our world, be it from the boardrooms of big corporate, or from society, or from the political scenes in our societies, or from changing the world through innovative startups. No matter what route we take, I have one hope and one ambition for all of us, and that is that we will go and make a real impact. Thank you.